Hello everyone, my name is Abhi Bhardwaj and I'm going to talk a little bit about this is going to be a philosophical discussion. So I'm going to take up today ego and what my experience is with it, and also how it it affects all of us personally. And I think even sometime when I look at most of the arguments, for example, or when you analyze the conflicts around the globe, and I think ego plays a huge role, because this distinguishes, we try to distinguish ourselves from others, and this could be personal and individual, and this also could be community, religious, it could be state-wise, you can talk about, mostly religion-wise, and this kind of sets us apart when we think that we are different than others, and we are better than others, right? That is where the ego plays a extremely important role. And so I'm going to talk about that, and we're going to discuss about how can we, first of all, let's understand what ego is, and then also how do we control it. Very difficult though. So I'm going to start with the individual, and then we'll come to the communities, the religious part of it, and the countries and all that stuff, right? Because as I mentioned, that the main part of conflicts or arguments is ego within us. Now let's talk about individuals first. When we talk about ego, and ego leads to make us believe, first of all, that we are better than others, or the person I'm having argument with, I feel that how can that person say this to me because I'm better than him. And when we think about this, that I'm better than him or her, the ego is talking, and then we react to that, and we say, how can you say this to me? Don't you know who I am, right? All these words comes from egoistic people, and most of us are. We change with time and things we can achieve in our life, and that fills our mind with more and more ego. And once we have that, then our attitude towards fellow human beings changes, and I think that's where the problem is. So when we talk about, say for example, we get angry, right, on something, somebody said something to me, well, how can that person say that to me? Like fraction of a second I think about it, and then I react to that, and that reaction, then that ego leads to anger, right? And once you get angry, it takes hold of you more, and it tells you that you are winning somehow. You're trying to win that argument, and by doing so, you become more and more angry, and so that's where the individual ego comes into picture. So see, ego then leads to anger, right? That's the second bad part of ego. So ego leads to anger. Very important point to know. So if you control your ego, then you will be able to control your anger. Now how do you control your ego? First of all, that's very important. Arjuna asked that question to Krishna even, right? So everybody was in every age faced this problem, and it's difficult to control ego, because so how do you do it? So first of all, you can control ego by knowing the truth, the facts. The fact is that all of us are human beings. Nobody's more smarter, when we put that mask of that all of us are human beings, we are all equal, and I'm not better than that other person. And also we have to go into depth of, I'm not the doer, I'm not the controller, it's the nature who's controlling everything. So how do you control ego? You have to control ego, you have to first of all give control, because you think you are in the driver's seat, you are the controller. That's where the ego comes from. You are not the controller. When you think about it truthfully, it's the nature who's the controller, not you. And when you realize that I'm not the controller, it's the nature who's controlling everything, then you are just part of this nature. Ego should go away. Ego comes that I'm big, I'm better than others. But truth comes that I'm nothing. If you look at me in the universe, I don't even exist. So Earth is microscopic, so where am I? So where is this I coming from? Because I'm not nothing, right? So how would you control ego? Is by giving that control back to the creator. I'm not doing anything. It's him. I'm just part of that. That is the truth. So understanding the truth is very important. First step in controlling ego. Once you do that, then everybody else becomes your equal. And once you are all equal, then there's no chance of anger taking over, because ego would disappear now. And so that's very important. That everything and every action, including me, my body, is controlled by nature, by the creator, not me. I'm not doing anything. I never did anything. It's him. It's destined to be like that. But then I also talked about communities, religions, countries, right? So what happens is that this trait of humans then go into, say for example, religion. Somebody said something, because I'm Hindu, and ego is gonna take over. I'm better, my religion is better than him, and that would lead to anger against one particular community now. So one community can have that ego, or one religion can have that ego over the other. And all the conflicts we see in today's world is because of that. Because one religion thinks that I'm better than others, right? But if you know the truth, if you go into detail of analyzing the truth, then it's only one creator. And that creator is not saying what religion to follow, right? And if it's only one creator, why should we be fighting for that creator, right? Because of the ego. Because we think as a community, or we think as one religion, that we are better than others, right? So see, the ego can go into religion, so larger groups. It can go into countries and say, if some country threatened us, then ego comes. How can they do that? We are more powerful than them, right? Again, we forget that we all are human beings, and we shouldn't be fighting with each other, right? Because it's all nature who's controlling everything. We are here for a very small time, like a fraction of a second. And if you look at the time scale at a universal level, then that's like not even a fraction of a second. Very, humanity would be a fraction of a second. So when you know the bigger truth, then all these petty problem and the ego problem should not be there within the countries and the religious bodies and different communities, right? But we do not want to either know about that fact or truth, or we do not even pay attention to that larger truth. So that is where it enters now into a level of religion. Now religion from different countries, if you abuse or say something and the other religion just stand up, now it goes beyond countries. So multiple countries could get involved into religious fight, right? And it's all again because of the ego. So you can see that how ego started from the one individual and went up to now dividing the world based on religion, caste, color even, right? So, and how do you, so say if you resolve personal ego, but how would you make sure that everybody else follows it? That's a very big challenge, because this is part of, so everyone has to kind of, you know, make changes within themselves, but also bring this message to the larger communities and countries. Somebody has to do it to kind of educate people, because I think what is missing is education. It's like, you know, when you study, you know, your brain opens up, broadens up, right? If you don't go to school or study, your thinking is different, and it doesn't mean that if you're more educated you're a more better person, but in general it should open up, right? And then truth should come out, but nobody wants to talk about these things. And I think someone has to get up and say, guys, listen, do we really need all these different religions? Do we really need, aren't we all human beings? Why can't we live all together happily? We have enough resources on this earth to, you know, to make every one of us survive, actually, if we did not have ego and greed. Because then ego also feeds the greed and anger, and then, you know, then attachment follows, and then all other things. And I think this message has to be brought up, and somebody has to stand up and say, hold on, first understand this and let's do something about it. Because I think this is one of the biggest problem in our today's world, is that individual ego has actually not only ruined our family lives, our problems within our society, but it also have ruined the world, actually, you know, at large, right? And I think this can be controlled, but education is missing. So that was my whole point of this discussion, talking about ego and what I think about it. Thanks for watching.